Hey guys, and welcome to another brand new video. In this video, we have a kind of interesting topic to go cover over here, and as well, some Gamescom coverage too if you guys went and missed it. So we have some pretty fun stuff to go and wind down the night, because I also had a pretty nice long stream today up on Twitch. So if you guys are ever swing by the Twitch stream, thank you guys all so much for always following that. But we have some interesting news to go and cover. Now, first and foremost, there was one really big major bit of news that we actually made a video on earlier on today, you guys may have seen, in regards now to the Microsoft, Ubisoft, and their really big partnership in regards to Activision and the future games that might be coming out with that. But it also leads into kind of a maybe big kind of speculation that I myself am coming into, and I really want to go and see, well, if this might be a massively good deal more so for PlayStation. I'm going to talk about this and talk about that. It's not, once again, this is like my own thoughts. People may agree or disagree. I want to hear your thoughts down below, but it might be a huge, massive win for PlayStation at the end of the day. As well, I'm going to give you guys a quick run through on all the Gamescom stuff, because there was some cool stuff, such as the brand new Call of Duty, gameplay being shown, and a lot of other little various things. So let's go down the video. So make sure you guys are subscribed, notifications on, thoughts, comments down below, and like a video if you guys want to, and let's go dive on into this. So if you guys have missed this, and we also have a little bit of a quick update for it. Earlier on today, we actually had Microsoft come out here and they said that they are selling the Activision Blizzard cloud gaming rights to Ubisoft in their last-ditch effort to get this merger approved. In case you guys want the really quick recap I talked about before, but the CMA still has not approved this deal, so what Microsoft's trying to do is more so add and sell the rights to Ubisoft in connection with Ubisoft to basically make it so that big cloud gaming hosting issue is not a big of a deal. And this has been kind of like blowing up the internet. A lot of people are curious on it, talking about it. We made a video on it earlier on today. But the reason why this might affect a lot for PlayStation and why this might actually be a very secret win for PlayStation is kind of like really proof in the pudding. Now, I've really seen too many people talk about this, and it's probably because the legality-wise, we don't necessarily know how the contract is going to be. We don't necessarily know if this is actually going to go through. And it's also kind of ballsy that Microsoft is even selling these Activision Blizzard rights because they don't even own it yet. Now, it could, in theory, still be enclosed very soon, but there are still a few countries that have not fully approved the regulatory issue. So in theory, it can still be done even if those countries do not approve it. Based on how the law is, they just can't legally own that in that country because it's a really big acquisition. But one thing that I've seen a few people not really touch on is the fact of the wording and how this all works, where Ubisoft itself, first and foremost, has a somewhat decent connection with PlayStation, obviously because they will sell their Ubisoft games on, say, Assassin's Creeds or whatever it might be, up on PlayStation. But as well, the fact there actually has been a connection to with Ubisoft Plus, their Ubisoft like somewhat baseline game system, and other prior deals that already go on with PlayStation. Now, once again, this is not confirmed and no one knows the internal details of any of this as of right this second. But right now, they have had, well, people have to go and talk about this. They said they basically had to address the concerns about the impact of the proposed acquisition on cloud gaming streaming raised by UK Competition Markets Authority. We are restructuring the transaction to acquire a narrower set of rights, so basically they're trying their best to rework this deal. And then Microsoft President Brad Smith wrote in this blog post, stating this includes executing an agreement effective at the closing of our merger that transfers the cloud streaming rights for all current and new ongoing Activision Blizzard PC and console games released over the next 15 years at Ubisoft Entertainment SA, a leading global game publisher. The rights will be in perpetuity. So as you guys know, if you guys ever want to, you sign up for Ubisoft Plus, you'll have access to all these Activision games. We don't know the specifics as of yet, but one thing to really know is that we'll also be licensing the game to a range of cloud streaming, like basically other cloud streaming softwares. And one thing to know, and it's kind of an obvious duh when it comes to this drama, what is one of the big other game companies out there besides PlayStation, PlayStation Plus, where there already is an integration right now for PlayStation? Now, this is a possibility that Xbox may be like, we do not want to have PlayStation or maybe no major big competitors. But there was also, if you guys remember, a lot of the internal documents where some of the legal courts were basically like, that's why we have the Call of Duty, where these big regulatory bodies are basically stating, nah, you got to go and make sure either Nintendo or PlayStation or Nvidia or Steam or whatever it may be also has open access to the games. That's just more in regards to, say, Call of Duty. But the part two is this was actually very, very stingent when it came to the cloud gaming hosting agreement as well, mainly because they didn't want to stifle growth for smaller companies and businesses, so we kind of touched on the earlier video. But one of the bigger things to note is, what if this is like PlayStation's almost somewhat in to go make this happen? Now, you guys, this is like speculation, but I think it's a smart speculation. I mean, myself might be a little bit biased. But right now, they had to change this deal. The CMA has not approved the initial deal, so all of UK has not approved this. And as well, the CMA, even on their response to this acquisition change on Ubisoft, even stated, hey, This does not mean this is a green light. This does not mean this deal's going through. We still have to give like the proper legality time to go through this, let our lawyers see it and everything else. And I would agree. Like, I think it's one of those bigger things to go and know. And that also might be the easy one for PlayStation, because this actually might be one of those big monopoly laws where if Activision games can maybe not, say in regards to Ubisoft, if they're somehow maybe blocked, this actually might be a really strifeful big thing to bring up in regards now to maybe the CMA in all like the regards to the UK, because it basically means that they're out basically just stopping the streaming services, although maybe other things like NVIDIA and other cloud hosting services might be fine, but that also might be a big enough thing to be like, hey, like we cannot still deal with this $70 billion buyout, and other things like Ubisoft, maybe with their connections with even Nintendo or Xbox, might be completely going and like trying to almost force a monopoly by excluding out PlayStation. Now, once again, we don't know what the government bodies are going to regulate on and say, but that's probably a pretty good, valid legal argument if you guys are listening to what I'm saying. And it would make also sense, too, because Ubisoft is not being bought out by Xbox. They just have a 15-year contract for these games. So it doesn't mean that they're, like, have to listen to Xbox. I'm sure there's some pretty big stipulations, though, maybe in contract rights where maybe Xbox can choose to remove someone or not work with someone, or maybe, like, direct competitors, they don't want to have any marketing deals, or if there is any marketing deals, they want to maybe go and make sure it's really, like, really beneficial, both for Ubisoft and Xbox. So that's one thing to kind of go and know. Now, one thing to also note is, well, Ubisoft, depending on how they want to play it out, could just go completely just greedy mode and off as all same system to PlayStation. They already have connections and business contracts and Ubisoft things on the PlayStation Network, and well, what would stop them from doing this? So this actually might be a really crazy PlayStation win that people might not expect, because right now people don't really know what's happening. So they even say they address the UK concerns regarding cloud streaming. This is its own separate concern. Microsoft announced they filed a new merger application in the UK that includes a disinventure for cloud streaming rights at closing with respect to current and new PC and console games. We welcome Microsoft's decision to enter in this agreement and submit a new application for the CMA, which Microsoft believes will address the CMA's concerns. So right now, this is not confirmed, and as well, Ubisoft itself kind of depends on the actual acquisition or in all that. So once again, not everything's fully locked in. For us, nothing substantially changes with the addition of the divestiture, our merger agreement with Microsoft closing deadlines and cash considerations to be paid for each Activision share at closing remain the same. We'll continue to work closely with Microsoft and the CMA throughout the remaining review processes, and we are committed to help Microsoft clear any final hurdles as quickly as possible. So they basically make sure this is going to be like a really good and smooth integration, and it would probably go and skew a little bit more on Xbox, but at the same time, we have not seen anything be 100% confirmed on either side. They even go and say these types of articles too, when they say for this one. So Microsoft and CMA began negotiating on potential remedies again, which this might be a potential remedy, which also might even give a way better skew for PlayStation for a 15-year cloud gaming potential reach-in with Ubisoft being the middle man, rather than just a 10-year Call of Duty deal. Like, that's just if it can go through. It's not confirmed, but if it can. Cultivating then a new and much more convoluted version of the deal laid out today, an agreement was also signed with Sony to secure ongoing access for the games, as well as you guys probably know for the next 10 years as well for this type of stuff. So we'll actually probably know a little bit more about this deal until October 18th, but this actually might be that really easy backdoor for PlayStation to maybe have access to more streaming and other various things too as well for Activision games for almost for free. So a little bit of a ramble. I hope you guys don't mind that one as well. Now, if you guys kind of missed it, Gamescom actually did also happen today. They had a little bit more Starfield gameplay. If you guys want to see some of this, it wasn't anything super crazy. I'll kind of glance through it too, but people saw some of these big trailers and the gameplay, and it looked a lot nicer. The game itself seemed a lot more full, a lot more graphics, and so far, like from what I've seen, a lot of reviewers have really enjoyed the game so far. Little Nightmares 3 was actually also announced too as well, which also looked very cool. The brand new art style. I'm just going to kind of breeze through this one. Looks very nice to see. There's also a bit more gameplay for a lot of the boss fights for Black Myth Wukong. As you guys can kind of see, this game is still looking phenomenal, and animations might need to be cleaned up a little bit more, but looks very good. Killing Floor 3 also had a pretty nice brand new addition. Age of Empires 2 as well for the Xbox edition too. Rebel Moon is a brand new movie coming over here for Netflix, where we had Zack Snyder go and talk about it, and it looked pretty cool. I also have a gameplay too as well tied on into it, where they have like it was kind of cool idea with like video game stuff with that. Crimson Desert, the single player game over here from BDO, is also popping off. It looks kind of nice, almost gives a Witcher vibe. Payday 3 had a chance to showcase up a little bit more of their extra gameplay, which is always nice to go and see on this one. Assassin's Creed Mirage 2 as well also had a really good olden style Assassin's Creed vibe, which I liked a lot. Looked very nice and very good. It was also the day of fighting games where Tekken 8 also popped on out, showcasing a brand new game mode modes, fights, and everything else in between. Call of Duty did go get age restricted on this one, but it did have a chance to go and showcase up the game, and they showed one of their very first gameplay single-player things, and it looked really, really good. Awesome lights, awesome environment, and everything else. I cannot wait for that one. Nightingale 2, as well as their official release trailer, Grand Blue as well with the Ringling popping off, and then some other games such as ZZZ, which I never heard of, which is another Ohio-verse type style game. Almost give me some like Persona type style. A little bit more Honkai, new areas and stuff, same with Genshin as well, and Lord of the Fallen 2 popped on off. There's a few little updates too as well with the brand new last update for Sonic Frontiers, new The First Descent as well, showcasing a little bit more gameplay too over here from Nexon, gave some Warframe, other various vibes, which I really did like and see. You saw some Fort Souls 2 and also brand new Expeditions, which I really want to play. Imagine trying to go climb up like big hills and mountains, trying to go and climb up in your little car. A little bit of a challenging game. A little bit more Crew Motorfest news, and of course the Cyberpunk with a brand new massive rework of Cyberpunk with the brand new DLC, which I cannot wait to go and play. I am definitely going to play this up on stream. So a few other various games too as well, such as Last Epoch popping on off, which I've been hearing very good things about their brand new characters as well. Marvel Snap, which is kind of a sponsor. I cannot wait for Armored Core, Warhaven, Mortal Kombat, and a brand new Civ type style game, and a brand new Diablo Season 2 as well, and a few other kind of smaller games such as Thank Goodness You're Here and Dustborn for some indie game styles. They did go and wind this out with Alan Wake 2, which was a phenomenal game, and I cannot wait to play. Quick recap in case you guys are curious and want to check them out on your own. Make sure you guys are subscribed, notifications on, give me your thoughts and comments as well. I'm going to grab a burger, and I'll see you guys all tomorrow. Love you guys all so much for everything. You guys are all dope. Mwah.